The emergency of 1975 was a significant and controversial period in Indian history. Declared by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi on June 25, 1975, the emergency lasted for 21 months until March 21, 1977.
आपातकाल की घोषणा ने देश की राजनीति में दूरगामी बदलाव की शुरुआत की और लोकतंत्र के मूल्यों की अहमियत भी दिखाई। 25 जून 1975 को रातों रात सब कुछ बदल गया। 26 जून 1975 का दिन भारत के इतिहास का सबसे काला दिन कहा जाता है। लोकतंत्र
It was a time marked by the suspension of civil liberties, censorship of the press, and mass detentions, shaping India's political landscape for years to come. In the years leading up to the emergency, India was grappling with multiple challenges: rising inflation, food shortages, and widespread unrest. Strikes and protests, especially from labor unions and student groups, had become common. Additionally, the political climate was charged with growing opposition to Indira Gandhi's leadership. The immediate trigger for the emergency came from a legal case in which the Allahabad High Court convicted Prime Minister Indira Gandhi of electoral malpractice during the 1971 general elections. The court's ruling on June 12, 1975, disqualified her from holding public office for 6 years. The verdict.
On the 12th of June 1975, the Allahabad High Court judgment had come. I was at that time in Taj Hotel in Bombay. Just a couple of minutes after 10 o'clock, I got a call from Delhi from my brother Vijay Kumar, who informed me that he had just heard on All India Radio that the High Court had set aside Mrs. Gandhi's election and had also disqualified her for 6 years.
Stunned the nation and sent shockwaves through the political establishment. Amid this political turmoil, leaders like Jayaprakash Narayan, JP, a veteran freedom fighter and socialist leader, spearheaded a massive protest movement calling for Indira Gandhi's resignation. This movement gained widespread support, with strikes, demonstrations, and calls for total revolution demanding systemic change in Indian society and governance. Fearing that the growing unrest could spiral into chaos and destabilize the nation, and with her political positions severely threatened, Indira Gandhi took the drastic step of advising the president, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, to declare a state of emergency under Article 352 of the Indian Constitution, citing internal disturbances. The declaration came late on the night of June 25, 1975. The next morning, Indians woke up to a new reality: suspension of civil liberties. Fundamental rights, including the right to free speech, freedom of the press, and assembly, were suspended. Censorship of the press. Newspapers were heavily censored, and many opposition leaders and journalists were arrested. Mass arrests. Over 100,000 political opponents, activists, and dissenters, including prominent figures like Jayaprakash Narayan, Morarji Desai, and Atal Bihari Vajpayee, were detained without trial under the Maintenance of Internal Security Act, MISA. Centralization of power. Parliament was effectively sidelined, and Indira Gandhi and her trusted advisors, including her son Sanjay Gandhi, wielded unchecked power. Sanjay Gandhi, though not an elected official, became a central figure during the emergency. He implemented a series of controversial measures, including forced sterilization as part of a population control drive and slum clearance programs that displaced thousands of people. These policies were met with widespread fear, resentment, and criticism. Despite the government's repressive measures, there were pockets of resistance. Underground newspapers circulated, and many activists worked in secret to challenge the emergency. internationally, India faced criticism for its authoritarian turn, though some countries, like the Soviet Union, continue to support Indira Gandhi. By early 1977, growing pressure, both domestically and internationally, made it clear that the emergency could not be sustained indefinitely. Sensing the shifting political winds and confident of her popularity, Indira Gandhi lifted the emergency on March 21, 1977, and called for fresh elections. To her surprise, the elections resulted in a resounding defeat for the Congress Party. The opposition, united under the banner of the Janata Party, won a clear majority, and Morarji Desai became India's new Prime Minister. It marked the first time since independence that Congress had been voted out of power. The emergency left an indelible mark on India's democracy. It exposed the fragility of democratic institutions and the potential for authoritarianism within the constitutional framework. The period is often remembered as a dark chapter in Indian history, but it also served as a reminder of the resilience of India's democratic ethos. Indira Gandhi eventually returned to power in 1980. But the stigma of the emergency would haunt her legacy. It remains a cautionary tale about the concentration of power and the importance of safeguarding democratic institutions.